It's time for another episode of Hops and Hedges, where we talk about beer, landscaping, and everything in between. Season 1 is proudly sponsored by ext.tech, helping you grow and revolutionize your landscaping business. Now crack open a cold one, and let's dig in. Here we go. Okay, and we are on. With me today on the show is Paul Doornbos. Paul, thanks so much for joining me. You are the president and CEO of Thornbusch Landscaping, correct?
That is correct.
I'm saying that right? Okay, and you're in Lansdowne, Ontario.
Yep, halfway between Kingston and
Kingston and where?
Brockville.
Oh, okay, very cool. I've got an aunt in Kingston, so I'm familiar with there. And then I know a lot of you guys, like peer-to-peer and Landscape Ontario members, you're up north, more north, but I don't get to see you guys very often. But I think I actually saw you recently at the peer-to-peer event, right? In Milton.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
Very cool. That was an interesting one. So for people who don't know you or Thornbusch Landscaping, why don't you give us a little bit of a lowdown about your business and what you do? And
Okay, so I mean, the backstory is Thornbusch Landscaping was created out of a necessity, if you will. I had been a minority shareholder in a business in the local area prior to starting my own, and so I had a falling out, shall we say, a disagreement, difference of opinion. And it was like, okay, well, here goes nothing. January 1st, 2007.
I saw that. It was like, what a,
Yep.
like a clean start date.
Yep. And
So,
we don't do snow. So
wow, good on you. Me neither. Heck no. Sorry,
yeah.
but no way.
No. So yeah, it started then, was a sole proprietorship like many people start out.
Yep.
And then we incorporated on August 1st, 2013. We started out with myself and two others, and we now have a team of around 10. We do installation of, pavers, natural stone, that sort of thing. We don't get into carpentry. We don't do irrigation. We can fix it, but we don't install it. We don't install lighting. We stick to what we feel we do best, and that's installation and maintenance. We have a grass crew, and then we have a crew that is exclusively in gardens.
Nice.
Huh.
Wow, very cool. So yeah, all the way January 1st, 2007. That must be nice for figuring out how many years in business, because January 1st is pretty easy to remember.
Yeah, and everybody chuckles because our year end is July 31st. And they go, well, aren't you really busy then? I said, yeah, but it's a little harder when you don't do snow to move sales into January.
Yeah.
Than it is to move sales around in July or August for tax purposes.
Yeah, this whole year-end thing. It's like, politics. But we're not going to talk about that on the podcast because nobody wants to hear about taxes and politics on a podcast.
No, they pay enough of them.
Right? Oh, geez. And so started in 2007, but then you incorporated in 2013. So what made you decide to do that?
Tax advantages, obviously. The company was growing, and as you know, you get taxed at a higher rate on personal than you do on corporate.
Yeah.
So, and then it's also the idea was twofold, taxes being one of them, but more so succession planning, and the idea that, okay, if I'm going to create an entity that I want to try and, sell at some point down the road, it needs to be a legal entity, not so much, not that a sole proprietorship isn't, it's just I need
it's a lot easier to sell.
Yeah, and it just sort of, no pun intended, it's the, separation of church and state. One is my personal side of life, the other is my business side of life, even though, the line is extremely blurred. But but for the government and everybody else, there is a double line, to use accounting terms.
Because I know that's a question that comes up a lot, especially for newer businesses. I mean, even myself, I'm just going into my 4th season, right? I only started in 2020. But so is it, and maybe for our listeners, I'm going to sound totally whack here, but I'm only looking at that now too, and I know we're probably near incorporating yet. But is it, I've heard kind of a general rule or a murmur that it's 100,000 revenue is you should be like, if you're consistently at 100,000 revenue, you should be incorporating. Is that kind of what you've heard, or am I just pulling out of that somewhere?
No, I would say that's probably a good number to look
Okay.
at, because you have to look at it as, okay, if you're a sole proprietor at 100K, you're being taxed at what, around 24% roughly
Whatever
of
it is, it
that.
hurts.
Yeah. Whereas as a corporation, corporate tax is somewhere between 11 and 13. So there's a 10% savings, right? Now,
Yeah.
having said that, incorporating on one level, they will turn around and tell you that incorporating is to create a paper entity, and that is a paper person. Yeah, until you go to the bank and need a loan, then they want you to personally guarantee. And it's like,
Ugh.
okay, but wait a minute, that's a paper person. That's not me. Oh, yes, but it is you. It's
Oh, but
just
it
you
is.
in it's you in a different format.
Right. I really
So,
find that I mean, I can only speak to Ontario government, but they really make it easy for us small business owners, don't they?
oh, sure.
You know, for
Mm,
registering, for starting up a business, for
yep.
all of the taxes. They make it so easy. For anybody
Yes.
listening who wants to start a business and think that was serious, that was sarcasm, and just a heads up, you kind of learn as you go, because the government is not going to help you. They want you to be an ant, a worker ant. They want you to go to work and work for the guy and go home and try and make it work. They don't want you to start your own business. But again, that's a different podcast episode. And so you do installation, you do softscape, hardscape maintenance, and
Yep.
I've seen some of your work online. You guys are on Instagram, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so I think that's where I'm mostly following you guys, and the stonework top notch. So kudos to
Thank
you
you.
guys. I'm a softscape girl myself, because my 140 pounds doesn't move a lot of stone very quickly. Even though I'd like to, but
Well, they make equipment for it, Heather.
they do. They
And
do.
and
One
trust me,
day.
as we've grown,
Yeah.
that is the one thing that I will say, like Mark Bradley talks about too, invest in equipment is to make our people's job easier to do.
Yeah.
Therefore, they stay with us longer. They
Mm-hmm.
last longer. Bodies don't break down. I often make the running joke of, I didn't discover a mini X until year 2. And had I discovered the mini X way earlier in life, I probably have a back that functioned. Huh.
Right. Yep. I've got a bum shoulder myself from a previous, not even in landscaping and construction. That's a whole other story. So we've got lots to talk about. I'm looking forward to picking your brain and talking about landscaping, beer, and a little bit of everything. But I'm wondering, what is your beverage of choice?
Beverage of choice?
And or do you have a beverage with you at the moment?
Well, at the moment it's water. Um,
Attaboy.
and beverage of choice, it would be rye, as in 40 Creek Barrel
40
Select.
Creek? Nice.
Yep. And I usually use the term that when I'm out, I'm looking for 2 fingers, and 2 fingers being the space between my pinky and my index finger. So
I'm stealing that. I love that. This is not 2 fingers.
no,
This is 2 fingers.
exactly.
Oh God, I love that. I will give you credit every time I use that, but the next time I ask for one, I'm a rum girl
Yeah,
myself. So I want a
there you
rum,
go.
but I want like 2
Two
fingers of rum.
fingers. Yeah.
I love that. I
Just
am
the
sorry, go ahead.
and then if when it's beer, I like a good stout. So I'm a Guinness guy.
Nice. Have you ever been to the brewery across
No,
the pond?
no, I have not.
No? Would it be on a list of places you'd like to go?
Yep, yep. Someday.
Someday, maybe.
Yeah.
When,
Well,
when us entrepreneurs have some free time.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And as we like to jokingly say, we chose dogs.
Oh, okay. Yep. I get that.
So we have 4 Australian Shepherds ranging in ages 8 to 1.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That is a slightly bigger breed than my toy poodle.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My husband and I are both big dog people. And so we were asked to foster temporarily this toy poodle
Right.
for a friend of a friend of a friend. And it's going on 12 years now.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
think
It might be yours.
he's ours now. So I'm actually almost done mine. Sorry, I had to start without you because
That's
I
all
was
right.
in a garden today, pruning, deadheading, and thinning out a wild rose bush.
Oh,
And I do not
nice.
like roses. I know I'm in horticulture and landscaping, and there are people who like roses. That's not me. I'm a low maintenance. I like
Yep.
plants that you touch once and you're done. Right? And roses, they're a
Not
little
them.
bit not them. So I'm almost done this one. This is a really good one. This is by Cowbell. It's called Sunsplash
Okay.
IPA. But I've got to stand by because I know that this one I'm going to finish. So I've
There you
already
go.
got the next one lined up. And it's called Todd is an Absolute Beauty. I refined fool. They have the best names for beer. Here I am holding 2 cans of beer. I'm not sure what it looks like. Do you know what? That's great though about
Nice.
recording this podcast
Yeah,
and not posting them live is nobody knows what time it is right now. So don't tell
that's
anybody.
right.
It
We
doesn't
won't.
matter. It doesn't matter. So yeah, those are my 2 beers that I've got going on at the moment.
So they're
Um,
craft. They're a craft beer then, are they?
they're both craft.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Cowbell, I'm just trying to think off the top of my head. I should have had this handy. Is Blythe, Ontario, and
Okay.
Refined
Yeah.
Fool, that's another Ontario one, but it is in Sarnia.
Nice. So
Yeah.
Blythe just south of Lucknow. Because
Yeah.
I worked on a dairy farm in Lucknow when I was 16.
Oh wow. I've
Because
not done
because
that.
the last thing I wanted to do was deal with plants. I had grown up in a greenhouse nursery,
Oh yeah, and you were
and
done. You're
I
like,
was
nope.
done. Yes, I have a
Yeah.
dairy cattle management and production diploma.
Wow. Very cool. I've worked in tobacco, but not the animals side of
Right.
things. So
Yeah.
I was just gonna ask you something about that too, but I am drawing a blank. I'm sure we'll come back to it. Oh,
There we go.
greenhouse work. How
Yeah.
I find so many people in the general public think that, oh, it'd be so nice to work in a greenhouse, and they have no idea like the work
Yeah.
and the heat and the humidity and heavy lifting.
Oh yeah.
So
No, it looks good on TV. Looks like
it
fun.
does. They really make it very romantic looking on TV. Oh, I
Yeah.
work at a greenhouse.
Mm-hmm.
Do you? Because your hands look really clean. I think you're lying to us.
Yeah.
So on your pre-questionnaire or pre-interview questionnaire, that's what I'm just looking at here. I loved how I was asking about, do you have a favorite outdoor place or a place to vacation to? And you mentioned your backyard.
Yep.
So can you describe it for me? I don't see any pictures, so.
Yeah. No. So our backyard, basically, we overlook a farmer's field. The Trans-Canada pipeline runs through it about probably 100 feet from our property line, so
Yeah.
nobody will ever be able to build in it.
Nice.
We have a corner lot with 2 acres, so the neighbors are across the road or the neighbors are to the west, probably a good 400, 500 feet. So
Mm-hmm.
when things grow in, we can sit out and the under the pavilion and look out over the pond, and we're in the process of um, finishing off the outdoor kitchen with the smoker, pizza oven, and all barbecue and all those things, so that when people are over, you can entertain, or you can.
Yeah.
I mean, quite honestly, I haven't eaten so much pizza in the last 4 months. It's
Right?
getting the hybrid pizza oven. It's just awesome.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of the I don't know why I can't think of it right now, but the big name in smokers.
The big name in smokers. Oh, yeah. What is it? There's Jaeger. There's the Green Egg. There's oh my goodness. Yeah. Okay.
That's
Sure.
so
Put me
weird.
on.
I can like
Put,
see. I'm putting you on the spot, yeah, because my mind's drawing a blank, but yours is too. I think it starts with a T. maybe. I don't know. I can kind of see the logo in my mind. But anyway, uh, it's funny because I consider myself a flexitarian because I generally am vegetarian because my body just doesn't digest meat very well. I'm not like a save the animals people necessarily,
Right.
but we got a smoker and oh my gosh, the stuff that goes on there comes out so
Oh
good
yeah.
every time.
Yeah. Yeah. So my better half has an herb garden that's probably, I don't know, 50 feet by 20.
Whoa.
And so I, for her birthday a few years back, or Mother's Day, I can't remember, one of the two, I ended up buying her a dehydrator from Cabela's.
Oh,
Only
that's
not the
awesome.
not the one that sits on the counter. It's the floor model size. And so that thing just got rolled out last weekend, and it'll be out basically until freeze up.
That's
Because what
awesome.
she ends up, turn around and we'll smoke hot peppers, then
Yeah.
dehydrate them, make your own chili powder and stuff like that, and
Oh man,
all the
that's cool.
herbs. Oh yeah, dry all the herbs, and that's what the kids get at Christmas then too, right? It's all the fresh stuff that's grown at home, made at
I love
home,
that.
and away you go.
Oh man. So any of you men who are listening to this podcast episode right now, take note. If you have a wife or a daughter or a partner or a girlfriend who likes to garden and grow things, especially herbs, you know what she wants for Christmas? A dehydrator. Okay?
Hmm.
Take it from me. If she doesn't like it, you can blame me. You have my permission. But that is awesome. Very cool. I also saw in the questionnaire that your backyard is a little bit of a mixed match of uh things from
Oh,
job sites.
oh yeah, it's all all customer rejects.
Mine too.
The tree in the backyard is a locust,
Yep.
sunburst locust
Beautiful.
that the main leader came out of at a client's years ago, and then I took it home, threw it in the truck, planted it, and said, "Well, something will happen."
Yeah.
And now it's probably, well, we had it trimmed last year because it was getting too big. So,
Oh my gosh. It's so funny with stuff with clients, right? Because you want to provide the best service you can and you want to install something that is top notch.
yeah,
And so many times, you get a tree delivered and like you said, the leader snaps off or it gets windburned during transportation or it gets damaged during planting or whatever.
yeah,
And it's not good enough for the client's house, but at the same time, it's a really cool specimen or tree
yep.
or shrub. It's like, well, I'll take it. It's not good enough for you. Like you've paid for this and you're the client and I want you to have the best of the best, but it's good enough for me. So I'm just going to take this home and I'll buy you a new one,
Oh yeah.
right? I think a lot of us do that.
Well, and then as well, you get stuff and you put it where it shouldn't survive and it thrives. We
Yeah.
got Virginia out on a berm in the blazing sun, and for all intents and purposes, this plant should not be making it, and it
No.
just loves it. Same with
Wow.
lungwort, same way. West side of a berm, full sun,
Yeah, those
and
are two
it's
things
just,
that I would not think because the leaves get any sunburn?
no, no, it loves it.
Wow.
Like we're scratching our head, going, "This is a plant for the north side
Hmm.
of a house."
Yeah. Wow.
But
I love how plants they tend to surprise us, you know.
oh
We
yeah,
might we
yeah,
might think we know where they should go, but they'll let you know.
yep.
Excuse me. And I like how you said your style is nonconformist, curvilinear, random awesomeness.
Well, it's just so when I worked at a place previous, and in the early years in the late 80s and early 90s, I found a lot of landscape outfits companies would have, it was almost like, here you have three designs to choose from, and this fits. So I mean, literally the place I used to work at, you could drive by and go, well, see
Yeah.
that there's a U, there's a Hicks U with two spreaders in between, and it gets repeated anywhere they did work. And it's
Yeah.
like, no, you've got to try, and it's important to us, it always has been, to turn around and find the uniqueness of the client and find plants and even art or installations that suit that person's, what they're trying to describe to you.
Mm-hmm.
Because, and I love sometimes getting from clients, well, do you like it? And I'm like, I don't have to like it. I
Hmm.
leave. I never have to see it again if I don't want to.
Right.
The question is, do you like it? And are you happy with how it's turned out? Because we had to turn, people often say, what's the hardest part of your job? And I go, it's picking the picture that my client sees in their head, out of their head, by asking the right questions so that I can create it.
Right.
Because otherwise, I said, the heavy lifting, I said, we have equipment for that. And what, yes, those are the physicality, that's part of the job. But that's not the hard part. The
Yeah.
hard part is taking somebody who's not very visual, but has a vision in their head and
Hmm.
having them describe to you what they see so that you can go something like this.
Right. Yeah. I love that because I've seen that too, where you have the cookie cutter,
Oh,
there's certain landscaping companies and they've got maybe 15 plants and
yep.
5 different stone that they work with, and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you
And it,
drive by and you're like, I know exactly who installed that.
yeah. Yeah. And
So,
I want people to ask who installed it
yeah.
rather than know by design, as it were.
Yeah. It's that feeling of when somebody sees it's like, man, that's nice. Who did that?
Right.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, I recognize that. That's so and so. It's
Yeah.
just different. And everybody is different,
Hmm.
and it's something that's come up. I mean, I worked with a few landscaping companies before I started out on my own. And I found that the bigger the company, the more and I shouldn't say that because I didn't work for very large companies, right? Like there are some companies in
Hmm.
Landscape Ontario, and I know that they take the time to really get
Yep.
down to what the client wants. But in my experience, it was very much these are the plants that we're comfortable with. So try and design using these,
Right.
right? It's like I was provided a palette of this is what we're comfortable with installing, so this is what we're going to design.
Mm.
It's like, but what if you have a client that doesn't like any of those, right? There's so many options out there to just pigeonhole. I don't know. That's a
Well,
that could
and some of it is pigeonholing. Some of it, I think, sometimes is because we often hear in LO about process, right, and
yeah.
efficiencies and all this. Yeah, okay, being creative and having people that provide you that are very creative designs, they take longer to install.
They
Sometimes
do.
you have to learn about something new.
Mm-hmm.
Not and it's like, okay, either you have the viewpoint of it's an opportunity to grow or
Yeah.
it's an opportunity for somebody else to do the work.
I
Take your
love
pick.
that.
So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, you can be super efficient by just installing the same thing again and again and again and again. But if you have a client, it's happened for me too. They're like, is this possible? Is this something you can do? I'm like, I don't know, but let's find out,
well,
right?
everything's possible. There's only two limiting factors:
Budget and time.
time and money. Yep.
Time and money. Yeah. I've had
Well, and you,
I think somebody in I can't remember where it was in the States, but I was working with them virtually, working on a
yep.
design. And they said, well, would you come down here, and do a design and consultation? I'm like, sure, if you're willing to pay for me to come down there and my
Hmm.
accommodations. They're like, oh, yeah, maybe not.
Yeah.
We can do it virtually though. That's okay.
Yeah.
It's free. Well, it's not free, but you know what I mean. Anyway.
Yeah, and
Um,
then you get the ones that will turn around and say to you very politely, "Don't tell me how to spend my money." All right.
yep, yep. Or, you'll have a client that says, man, that's a lot more than I expected. Okay, not a problem. Let's talk through this. Part of that was on me that I set
Yep.
unrealistic expectations for your desire list, right? Your list of needs and wants. However, I wanted to show you what's possible.
Yep.
And now let's see if, that first number can be scary. But I wanted
Mhm.
to show you the big number and the big dream of what this can be and what is possible. And if this is too
100%.
much, let's maybe work towards it over a certain number of years, or what do you really not need or want? And let's
Mhm.
start reducing that then, right?
Well, yeah. Like I
Having that
say,
flexibility.
build them, show them the dream, show them, as you said, what's possible. Love that.
Absolutely.
Because many people are not visual and can't
Yeah.
necessarily see what you can see and go,
Hmm.
okay. And then it's a case of, yeah, my late mother always used to turn around and say, what if their budget is only X? I said, asking me if I can do it for less is not the same thing as saying to me, this is beautiful, but we have this much money to spend.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's why I know that it's hard, especially for smaller businesses, having that initial conversation about budget,
Yeah.
right? But it's
Yeah.
just money, right?
Yeah.
But if a client knows that they have 25K put aside for a
Yeah.
patio and a garden, it is good that the contractor and the designer knows that up front, or they will show you a 50,000 design that you're going to love, and then you're going to be upset with the designer, right?
Yeah,
So,
and then it's the ones that, oh, we're building a new home and we have 50,000 for the landscape. I said,
yeah,
the home finished?
right.
And they go, no. I said, then you don't have 50,000 for the landscape yet. I
Yeah,
said,
call me
talk to
when
me
it's
when
done and we'll see
call
how
me
much you
when
actually
it's
have left.
yep.
Yeah, I've run into that
So
one too. Or when they build a brand new home and maybe it is all done, but it's
yeah,
like a 1.6, 2.6, 3.6. I've done a site visit at a $4 million home, and they're like,
yeah,
yes, we've got $25,000 left for landscaping. And I said, you can't do that for this house. Like
yep,
I'm trying to be nice,
yeah.
but
Oh,
you
for
have a
sure.
$4 million estate and 25,000 isn't going to cut it. It's not going
No,
to get
you
you a driveway
won't
for
even
this
get you
house.
the won't even get you the outdoor lighting.
No, no. So it's kind of like, but people don't know, right? So
Yeah,
it's up to us to kind of educate them and let them know.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
so on your questionnaire, because I loved your answer. I was asking, do you have a favorite garden plant or group type of plants? And you said that the ones that speak individual to the individuality of clients. And I love that. But I want to know if you personally have a favorite tree, shrub, perennial, annual.
They by far, hands down for me, it's an autumn blaze maple. There's two of them in the berm out here because
Autumn blaze
when it,
maple.
yeah,
Nice.
when everybody says a red maple, 90% people are talking about the maroon thing that you see out there that
Yep.
and I'm like, that's not a red maple. A
No.
red maple goes red in the fall, goes
Right.
blazing red. And yeah, for me, that's hands down, has always been one of my favorite trees.
Yeah. And that one, the autumn blaze, because it's green during the summer,
Mhm.
right?
Yep,
And then it goes red. And
yep.
it's true, yeah, a lot of people think about the red maples as being red year round.
Hmm.
And you get
And
some fall color, but you really don't on those,
no,
right? So,
no, they just shrivel up and fall off.
yeah, very cool. I love plants that have that seasonality to it, right?
Yeah.
Especially in southwestern Ontario, we are we have the seasons, and if you plant one thing that looks the same all year round, you might as well get a rock.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
you don't have to water it, you don't have to prune it, you don't have to thin it or split
Yep.
it. Just get a rock. So the seasonality, that's what I really like. So what about house plants? Do you have any?
Good Lord, I built her a greenhouse to get them out of the house, and now there's more migrating into the house again because, of course, there's space.
Yes, I'm
It's
one of
like,
those
oh,
too. You can probably tell from my office. If there's
yeah,
space, I will fill it with plants or books.
yeah. So we have lot of photos, and then the traditional spider plant,
Yeah.
and uh, we have a hibiscus that is almost as old as I am, that my parents
Whoa.
started many years ago, and has probably a trunk on it now that's probably almost 3 inches in diameter.
A hibiscus.
Yep.
Holy smoke. So do you keep that in year round or does it go out during the summer?
No, it goes out in the summer. All the leaves will
Nice.
burn up off of it, and then it'll shoot new ones.
Huh. I
And,
tried to overwinter a hibiscus this past winter, and I'm pretty sure it's gone. I don't think it was my first time trying. It wasn't an expensive one, thank goodness.
Yeah.
So what about equipment? Like we were talking earlier, that equipment,
Yep.
makes the job easier. Is there
Hmm.
something that when you got, it was just a game changer for you?
Well, like I said, Mini X was the first game changer because we didn't use one until year two. We
Mm,
dug all the holes the old-fashioned way with a
by
shovel.
hand. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then I rented one for a job that we were planting a bunch of caliper trees. And I planted 11 caliper trees in the morning with two women. And I was like, where has
Whoa.
this thing been all my life?
Yeah.
So, and then, the other one that we've gotten recently is a track carrier from Komodo
Yeah.
that'll dump all three different directions. And it's quite
I have
honestly
seen that.
it's the equivalent of an employee.
Right. And that employee isn't going to break their back. Or
Yeah,
if it does, you just fix it.
yeah. Well, it meant on our installation crew, you were adding a third person without adding a third person. You now have
Hmm.
two people with that can run the equipment as and be just more efficient without adding
Yeah.
additional labor.
Man, that's awesome.
So
Holy. I remember when I love spring bulbs. It's a thing for me. I know that they
yeah,
don't always last. Some of them are annuals, but I love mass planting bulbs. And I gotta tell you, I was so done with doing the hands and knees and trowel and drop one. I've tried the bulb
yeah,
planters,
yeah.
just garbage. And I'm telling you, a DeWalt drill with the large drill bit on it,
Big bit,
zoom,
yeah,
zoom, zoom, bang, bang, bang. Oh, game changer for me. That was one
really.
that I think I saw some silly video on Instagram and I thought it was a joke. Like I thought somebody did it to be like, hey,
Right.
look, I'm drilling holes in the garden. And then I tried it. And it was like, oh, I just planted 1,500 bulbs in like 2.5 hours.
Hmm,
That's awesome. So that was the one for me.
nice.
Um, Man, we've got 6.5 minutes and I've got so many other things I want to talk to you about. It just means we'll have to have a Paul part two.
There you go.
Oh, there you go. So one of the things that you are facing with right now with your business is the succession planning, right? And you are not
Yep.
alone in that.
Yep.
And
Yeah. So we
that's,
we we actually are working on a plan already.
yeah.
We have a couple of employees that are interested,
Hmm.
and so we've sort of set out a temporary framework as to and timeline as to how that looks.
Yeah.
Because as I said, to me, it's a 10-year plan.
Yeah.
Unless you're walking in here with a fistful load of money to go,
Yeah.
here you go, and then things can change. But the way for me to do it effectively and to provide them the opportunity to learn everything they need to know about the business, about running the business, and then turn around going, okay, that's probably a 2 to 3 year process about, okay, here's all the ins and outs.
Yeah.
Now, is this really what you want to do?
Right.
And then developing the plan whereby which, okay, do the financial side of things, do you turn around and go, we need this many retained earnings to remain in the company. So, and we want profit of X, and anything that we generate above that is going to get split, let's say 3 ways evenly, and then you can use your chunk as purchasing power for shares to gradually buy more of them.
Right.
And then you do that, and eventually it's like, okay, and now we get to the tipping point of 51.49, and
Yeah.
now you're in a position whereby which at that point you should be able to take the loan that you need to buy the rest. And
Yeah.
Bob's your uncle. I'm out.
Yeah. Wow. I'm so glad that I'm on the other end of that spectrum where I'm just starting and I'm still learning the ropes of how
Yeah.
to do this. But man, the people that I've met through LO and peer to peer, I know it's something that's weighing on a lot of people, right? Is trying to figure out the ins and outs of, okay, the who, the how, the when, how long. Like,
Yeah.
Man, it's not an easy question to answer, and there's no cookie cutter solution for all
No,
businesses. Everybody's going to be a little different.
no, and part of the problem that a lot of horticultural landscape companies will have is when you look at your business, how much recurring revenue do you have?
Right.
So, and if your maintenance contracts are only 1 year, that's
Yeah.
that's not recurring revenue because it ends and somebody else, I can just take them
Yep.
or attempt to take them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Installation work for the most part is not recurring
When you're
revenue.
done. Yeah.
Yeah. And so when you start looking at valuations and multipliers and ways to come to a value of your organization, many times what owners believe their um, organization is worth
Mm.
is vastly higher than what most professional appraisers would
Yeah.
say it is in a sense. And yeah, I get some are, under and some are not,
Yep.
but having been in it long enough, I know that, hey, if you're generating $1 million in revenue, somebody's going to think that, oh, I got $1 million company. No, you
No.
probably have like maybe 300,000,
Wow.
maybe.
I hadn't even
It all
considered that they
and
look
it
at the
all
reoccurring revenue. So even
yeah,
though you know that 80% of your clients have been with you for 20 years or whatever, and they're probably going to keep going, it's still not guaranteed because they're 1-year contracts.
yeah. And at the same time, that's the other thing. Those clients, who's the relationship with, right?
Right.
Who's the face of TLC Inc. In other words, at this point, I would
Yeah.
say the argument what I would make is it's our staff, but at the end of the day, it is me
Yeah.
because who's doing the estimating, who's having
The email
initial
conversations and
yeah, the interactions, even though I would turn around and say our crews spend and speak with our clients more than I do
right.
because they interact with them on a daily, weekly basis or
Yeah.
while they're on site and so on and so forth. But yeah, that's the challenge. It's not a case of, we have a manufacturing plant and we have, we make this product.
Yeah.
It's our product gets made in all kinds of different places.
Mm-hmm.
And it, like you said, Heather, the aspect is sure 80% of our clients have been with us for years. But that's the relationship we've developed. How do you foster that for somebody who
Move forward.
transplants in as the new owner? And
Holy
this
smokes.
is where the aspect of where Mark Bradley will talk about, and he's right. The idea you have to have a systemized business so that if you walk out into the middle of the road, get hit by the bus,
It
your
can still
business can
run.
function.
Well, and on that note, we are actually out of time. So we are definitely going to have a Paul Doornbos part 2 because there's so much more that I want to talk about with you. But
Okay.
Until next time, Paul, thank you so much for coming on to the show.
You're welcome.
Okay, talk to you later.
Take care.
Cheers. That concludes this week's episode, hosted by me, Heather Gerard at My Landscape Artist. Now, before you go, here's some info about our sponsor, ext.tech. In today's fast-paced world, your landscaping business needs modern solutions to keep up with the change. That's where EXT comes in. EXT is revolutionizing the way you manage projects and streamlines your landscaping, snow removal, and construction operations. Instead of juggling 5 different software packages, endless spreadsheets, losing track of leads, and missing out on potential sales, you could be leveraging AI job routing, client management, and financial insights with a modern mobile app that employees love to use. With EXT's flat rate pricing, you'll never be caught off guard. If you're ready to revolutionize and grow your landscaping business, visit ext.tech today to learn more. And for additional savings, use the code HOPS10 at checkout, or just tell them that Heather sent you. See you next week for another episode of Hops and Hedges.